Hey everybody, Tyler Hart back with another video. This time we're going to be talking about something security related. I'm going to walk you through one of the best ways to begin securing your router. This has nothing to do with firewalls. It has nothing to do with pen testing methods. It has nothing to do with anything really complex. This is just boilerplate, simple stuff. This will take you maybe 60 seconds to implement on your router. So there's a number of different cybercrime operators out there, whether they're private actors, nation state actors, whatever, doesn't matter. But they operate MikroTik based botnets. For the most part, they base their botnets on devices that were not set up securely to begin with. They have factory default passwords, they have a bunch of ports exposed, they have really shoddy firewalling. Something allowed these cybercrime operators into that device and allowed them to co-opt that device for nefarious stuff like distributed denial of service attacks. One of the best ways that we can prevent our devices from being co-opted into these cybercrime networks is just to reduce the overall surface, the attack surface that is exposed to these folks. I like to do this right out of the box, right after I change the factory default password. So the first thing I like to do is turn off any of the IP services that I am not using. That immediately shrinks the attack surface available to port scanners and other nefarious folks. So let me show you how to do this. I've got a router up here, Winbox is open. It's running the latest stable version of RouterOS as of right now. That's 6.47.4. It's a CHR. It's a cloud hosted router. So it's not a physical router, it's a virtual router, but RouterOS is largely the same, Winbox is the same. So I'm gonna click on IP and then services. So these are the services that are running right out of the box. Pretty much everything is running in RouterOS. I wish that MikroTik would stop doing this. I've been lobbying for quite a while for the default configuration to be changed in terms of services, and it's just not gaining any traction. So that's neither here nor there though. So in this case, I normally only use Winbox, which is encrypted by default nowadays, and SSH, which of course is encrypted to administer my MikroTik routers. I don't use the API, I don't use FTP, I don't use Telnet, I don't use the web interface, www, you see here on the screen. I just use Winbox and SSH. So one of the things I like to do, I like to turn all these services off. All we have to do is click on the service and disable it. That's it. So port scanners, if you have ports open on the internet, which one you shouldn't have to begin with, you should be behind a VPN. But if you do have some of these ports exposed, we're just making these ports go away. A port scanner will not find port 21 if the FTP service isn't running. Now SSH, we're going to leave that alone. Telnet, we're going to disable that. Winbox, we'll leave it alone. www, the web service, we're going to disable this. So there we go. We've taken our attack surface of this device and took the number of available ports down from, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. From 7 well-known ports down to 2. And the only 2 ports, the only 2 services that are left are both encrypted services. We can also, if we have a dedicated management subnet that we know that we want to allow SSH from and nothing else, say it's the 10. Hit the numlock key, come on, 10.1.8.0/24, that's the IT, or that's the help desk, or that's the engineering subnet, whatever. We can lock this service down even more. Now this is not in the firewall, this is in the service itself. The service itself will not allow connections except from 10.1.8.0/24 if we were to do this. I'm not going to do this, but this is just my lab machine. I don't have a separate subnet or anything like that. So by disabling the services we're not using, we brought the attack surface down. One of the things that we can also do is disable any packages that we're not using in RouterOS. For the most part, not everybody needs all packages enabled. In fact, I don't think I've ever run into a customer that needed everything running all the time in terms of packages. So to get to the packages that are running, I just went to System and then Packages. I know you can't see me click the drop-down menus because they're rendered as a separate window in Winbox, but that's all you click. System, then Packages. So there's all these packages, all these software services that are running, whether we're using them or not. This is a CHR. It is a cloud or virtual router. It does not have a connection to an uninterruptible power supply. In fact, this thing is running right now on a Hyper-V server. My Hyper-V server is what's in charge of listening for those shutdown messages from the ups, and then it will shut the VMs down cleanly if necessary. I think most people are using either Hyper-V or VMware to host their virtual routers. We don't need the ups package running because the hypervisor is taking care of that. I'm going to disable this package. So now when you disable a software package in RouterOS, it doesn't turn it off immediately. A reboot is required to either enable or disable a package. There's no other way around it. Now you can uninstall a package if you want to. I don't necessarily like to do that. I would prefer to just leave the package there, but disable it. So there's just no reason for this software to be running. Wireless. There are no wireless interfaces. This is a virtual router. Why do we even need the wireless package running on this? That doesn't make any sense. I'm going to disable it. PPP. I don't have PPP or PPTP or L2TP running on this router. Nothing that's happening on this router right now requires PPP. I'm going to disable it. I'm not doing any MPLS on this router. I'm going to disable that as well. I am not running a hotspot off of this router. This router is not handling captive portal. It's not doing. I'm not a hotel. I don't have anything like that running. I'm going to disable this. Oh. So all that's going to be left is routing, security, system, which by the way you can't disable. You have to have that. Some of the advanced tools because we need those. We might do DHCP in the future, and we're certainly doing IPv6. So we're going to leave those enabled, but the rest of them are just dead weight. So I'm going to go to System, Reboot, and I'm going to reboot this router. Now, as the router comes back up, you're going to see that the packages are no longer enabled. So we'll go ahead and just click yes to reboot the router. We'll see the router. It's going to take a couple seconds. Come on, router. Reboot. Disconnect me already. All right, so we are disconnected. There we go. We can see it's been disconnected for about 10 seconds. Yeah, we'll give it 5 more seconds to come back up. All right, let's give it a shot. There we go. Okay, cool. So it brought the window back up that we were in before, so you can see all of these are disabled. So again, our attack surface is shrunk even further. Now, I'm going to close this window out. There is one more service that I like to disable, and it's not listed under IP services. And I don't know why. This has always just kind of driven me a little bit nuts because it is an internet protocol service. And that is the SMB service. So if you go under IP and then SMB for server message block, you see here that we have the ability to open up file share off of this router. Now, by default, SMB is disabled, and that's good. We don't want to enable this. So we're not going to make a change right now, but we are just going to verify that SMB is in fact turned off. The other things that you can turn off as well, go under IP and then cloud. If you are not utilizing MikroTik's dynamic DNS service, by all means, turn this off if you're not using it. Oh, there was another one. The other one, neighbor discovery, under IP and then neighbors. You can go to discovery settings and you can choose which interfaces you want to run discovery on. If you have a customer facing or a user facing port, you probably don't need neighbor discovery running on that port, because neighbor discovery works both ways. You can see information about their connected devices, but they can also see information about your devices, which, depending on what you are, a hotel, a coffee shop, a WISP, a private business, I don't know, depending on who you are, that may affect your compliance issues. If you have to be like PCI DSS, HIPAA, FERPA, whatever, compliant. A million acronyms. So that's what I've got for you here. Just a kind of a quick security primer to get you going. We disabled the IP services we're not using. We disabled the RouterOS packages that we're not using. We verified that the SMB service is turned off. And we also look to see that we don't have any user or customer facing ports with neighbor discovery turned on. So I hope you liked the video. I hope you found it helpful for your network. Please go ahead, subscribe to our channel. I've got new content coming out all the time. If the video is helpful for you, go ahead and like it. Go ahead and leave a comment, and we'll see you in the next video.